We're seeing more families. We're seeing young mothers with children, young mothers and fathers with children who are living in their cars, trying perhaps to live with relatives, but not having those relatives to live with. So we're finding more and more people on the street who are actually families.
But more and more homeless now are on the streets because they lost their jobs. They ran out of money. They can't pay their rent. They can't pay their mortgage. They don't have family or friends to move in with. Where do you go? I don't know that the homeless are ever going to go away, but we're trying to make sure that, well, we're trying at least to raise awareness so people will understand that the homeless aren't invisible. That's why we're here tonight for the second.
One of the first steps is acknowledgement. I think looking homeless folks in the eye when you cross them in the street, making that face-to-face, that eye-to-eye connection with people, and acknowledging their humanity and acknowledging that these are people. These are people that have found themselves in circumstances and situations that any one of us could find ourselves in, except for the fact that we have privileges which these folks don't enjoy.
Thank you for joining us once again. What you just saw was a segment about our Sleep-In for the Homeless, which is an annual event that happens in the beginning of October. I personally have been involved in the Sleep-In for each year, and I honestly can't believe that we're having it's already the third one. I've been involved with registration, with assisting volunteers, and really it's just actually an amazing experience to really educate the city on the fact that we have over 2,000 people in Allegheny County that live without some sort of shelter, without some sort of placement and home. And here with me to talk more about the Sleep-In and other programs, the future of CHS, is Brianna J., who is a case manager over at our supportive outreach team, also based out of Oakland. Thank you, Brianna, for joining us.
No problem.
So how did you start at CHS?
I started at CHS about, I'd say, 2 years ago. I was taking a class at the University of Pittsburgh School of Social Work, and I was really enthralled with my instructor, who happened to be our executive director, Adrienne Walnoha. And when she talked about CHS and the work she's done here at this agency with staff members, advocating for folks in the community, for clients, it reminded me of why I wanted to go into social work in the first place. And I was immediately drawn in because it wasn't something I'd been seeing with a lot of other agencies that I've been involved with previously. So I was able to have an internship during my second year of school. And when my internship ended, I was able to get a job in our homeless assistance programs. And that was about a year ago that I started, and it's been a great experience so far. It's great working for this agency. Everyone works collaboratively and very cooperatively. And it's great to be able to go to my supervisors to talk about issues in a way where I know that what we're talking about and what we're focusing on is the issue and the person or the family at hand, and not, well, this is what our rules are, and sorry, there's nothing we can do about that. And that's what's so great about being here, is that I know that when it comes down to it, who we work with is what matters more than necessarily, this is what we said we're going to do and there's nothing we can do about it. So it's been great.
It's about the people for the people.
It's about the people for the people, and I think that today in 2010, where there's so much technology, there's so much need, there's so many agencies and departments, that people and who they are kind of gets forgotten. You have to tell if you need help, you have to tell your story so many times to someone about, this is what's going on, this is what I need. And I think that what's great about our agency is that, what's great is that we listen, and that we do what we can to meet people where they are, which is very important, and I think it's not something that we see all the time anymore. And I think that it's something that will help bring us forward in the coming years and kind of continue to make us a Hallmark agency that we've been for the last 40 years.
So can you describe your involvement with the Sleep In for the Homeless?
Sure. For the Sleep In for the Homeless, I've been the education and outreach coordinator. I'm a case manager in our homeless assistance programs, and I'm also coordinator for Operation Save a Life, which is our outreach arm of the homeless assistance programs. And with Save a Life, we go out twice a week and we meet people where they are living, either on the north side or downtown, and try to provide them with food, socks, toiletries, some very basic things that kind of help sustain them. We collaborate with some other groups when we do the outreach to kind of make sure that we are serving people the best way that we can. And so with the knowledge from both of those elements, I guess, of my job, I helped create some education activities for the Sleep In to kind of let people see homelessness in a different light. I think homelessness, when people think of it, they think of folks who are living on the street. I think I usually refer to it as, you might imagine a man, with a beard, because I think that's like the typical view of what homelessness is. And it's not, of course, and I think that's something you see in our agency. We have a lot of different kinds of programs. We have, obviously, street programs that work with folks who are on the street, but we also have a permanent supportive housing program for families. We have 2 rapid rehousing programs meant to get people on their feet as quickly as possible. We have a supportive program, and so it's very different. You have families that are homeless, you have individuals who are homeless. They're coming from shelters, they're coming from living with family members because they can't live on their own, and family members have been willing to take them in. So the aim of my job at the Sleep In was to give people a better understanding, a wider view of what homelessness looks like in Allegheny County, because it's really quite present, and that's something, of course, we've seen with the downturn in the economy, is that a lot of people became affected in ways that they never thought they would. And it's a goal of the city of Pittsburgh and of many agencies to end homelessness and to move people toward a more recovery aspect of their life and keep them so that they don't have to get into these situations where they lose their housing, because it's a very difficult event for anyone to go through, to become in a situation where you don't know where you're going to sleep at night. It's very stressful, and it has so many ramifications in terms of physical health, mental health, security. That's something we're working on, and that's something that we as an agency hope to educate more people about.